It is really great to be here. I just first want to say thank you, each of you individually, for showing up, for being part of this expo. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to lean into consciousness, to make that commitment to living a more conscious, intentional life. It not only impacts your own well-being, but makes huge, huge ripples through all of society around you. So thank you. My name is Heather. I am broadcasting from Soulutions for Daily Living. If you're not familiar, this is a destination for the heart and soul. We are both a store and holistic healing center, and we are committed to anchoring heart-centered space for all of us as a community and for our greater community at large. We are truly dedicated to service. It is one of our passions. So we offer products in our shop downstairs that are specifically and intentionally chosen to cultivate healthy mindsets, healthy lifestyles. We have all kinds of metaphysical tools to really engage in any kind of practices that you might want to develop. And then in addition to that, we have programs, events, special speakers, as well as one-on-one practitioners to really jumpstart your own transformation. We're all in this together, right? So we're here to provide tools for all of us to awaken. My name, as I said, is Heather Alpers. I am so excited to be here. I do so many things. I'm a Reiki master, a flower essence specialist, a crystal healer, a certified practitioner of the completion process. But all of the credentials aside, my deep passion is allowing people to release the blocks that keep them from love, that keep them from living their fully expressed and awakened life. I truly see myself in all beings. And so I take it as one of my personal missions to hold a space of loving awareness so people can begin to unfold in the wholeness of who they are. I do that in a multitude of ways through workshops, programs, working one-on-one with people. And I am also a co-founder of the Mindful Kids program here at Soulutions, which takes my mission and my co-collaborator's mission, Brianna Fenmar, into deep practice of providing these tools for mindfulness for children. We really truly believe that well-being starts with harmony of all parts of ourselves. So we're passionate about providing tools for children to learn what harmony is, how to engage with it in creative and playful ways so that as they grow and evolve as the beautiful little beings they are, they always have tools and processes to fall back on. So today, I'm wanting to talk to you all about the alchemy of mindfulness. I have never encountered a practice that can be nearly as transformational and as really healing as the practice of mindfulness in many reasons. The first thing I want to talk about is, what is the practice of presence? What is the practice of mindfulness? What is meditation? Some of this may not be new for you guys if you are more deeply involved in a meditative practice, but I hope that some of the perspectives I offer you will cause you to start questioning and going further into those practices. So meditation is the act of mindfulness in a shortened or exaggerated time that is exceptionally focused. Mindfulness is taking that power of presence into the everyday. That's when, in the everyday, when real change happens, because you begin to meet yourself in the present moment differently. So the practice of presence somatically will feel like a coming back to yourself. It's a recentering, it's a restabilization situation that's going on in your body. Your nervous system begins to resettle. Your body feels at ease and it feels calm. As you start to develop this practice, you get into deep places of joy and bliss and tranquility. Bringing these deep feelings of presence into each moment allows you to show up with non-resistance for that moment. Overall, presence has a profoundly healing power. I can tell you that from working with kids, I have seen that one of these deep needs that we all have as human beings is presence. And we can take this in a very human way of just remembering when we were children, we just needed an adult or a parent, a guardian, a loving friend to just be with us, regardless of what was going on. This is something we all crave. This is the closest that we really get to deep, transcendental, unconditional love as human beings. And so as an overall feeling somatically in your body, it's something all of us are craving. And because of that, it is deeply, deeply healing. It allows parts of you that have been really struggling with acceptance, with forgiveness, with compassion, to be soothed. It feels like a cooling down on hot skin to the parts of yourself that are really deeply needing this. So how do we begin to develop a practice like this? How do we begin to develop mindfulness or even meditation in our day-to-day moments? My favorite practice for beginning this is the development of the observer. Now, this has been called many different things, whether you call it the observer, the witness, loving awareness, it's all the same thing. You're beginning to create a part of yourself, really engage with a part of yourself that is simply witnessing events as they occur. So it's meeting the moment with non-resistance, accepting what is arising naturally, and just watching it without the desire to change it, without the desire to get out of it, without the desire to process through it, right? If you're like me, you want to process through everything because what's arising may not be the best, or you want to try to control the present moment because you think that what it is that you are wanting is what is going to occur, you know? Maybe it's just me, but that was one of my main barriers to development of the observer. And as you start to develop this practice of just coming back and simply watching what's arising, what you do is you start to create a place within yourself that is a refuge. Now, one of my favorite visualizations for this practice is simply imagining what's going on inside of you, what's going on outside of you, is like clouds moving across a blue sky. You can't control the clouds. You can't really judge the clouds. You can kind of watch them and see what interesting shapes, what formations, what colors they may have. You can explore them and try to begin to understand them from a different perspective. But you're just observing them as you would an explorer that's moving through nature. This practice, even if it's 5 minutes a day, can begin to create really definitive change in your life. It really can. Because what it does is it starts to create space for true self-awareness. Self-awareness is really liberating. It is the most liberating practice that you can start to develop if you want to go beyond where your perceived limits are in this moment. So talking about this observer, beginning to develop it, how do we take it further from there? So this is where the magic really happens and the alchemy really occurs, is we start to use this practice of developing the observer to introspect. This is where mindfulness and self-awareness become this hand-in-hand partnership that really is an agent for change in your own life. The way that you are engaging with what's going on internally, with all the parts, all of the sensations, all the feelings and the thoughts that are arising within you, are a reflection of the way that you engage with the universe at large. Are you going to dance in the co-creation of the universe, being an active and vital player in it, recognizing your own sovereignty in life? Or is it terrifying? Do you feel powerless to it? Do you not know what to do when emotion arises? Do you feel powerless to what's going on inside of your own brain? These are really incredible questions to begin to ask yourself as you develop this practice of awareness. So utilizing introspection, this is where we begin to talk about the active, compassionate self-questioning. You can utilize this practice with thoughts that you feel like are arising, sensations that are arising, and you begin to develop a different relationship with them. No longer are you pushing them aside, denying them, suppressing them, disowning them because you feel powerless to them. You can engage with them as a loving parent would engage a child that is having a hard time. One of my absolute favorite Thich Nhat Hanh quotes is that mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness, is like a loving mother who's caretaking her angry child. And that is real, true, deep mindfulness. So as we start to elaborate into these practices of mindfulness, what are the pitfalls? What are the shadows? What can you expect as you start to really develop into yourself? This is the magic. This is my favorite part of it. I want to talk about the law of attraction and what I really like to refer to as the law of reflection. So if you aren't aware, this world, what's in your day-to-day life is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Hence the law of attraction. Something inside of you is pulling experiences to you. So utilizing this to your advantage, you can become aware of these reflections and begin to use them to change the manifestations that are happening in your life. Now, this is where I really want to address shadow and shadow work. You guys, I find that in spiritual communities, light worker communities, shadow is avoided like the plague. It is seen as this heavy, dense, terrible thing that is definitely not to be looked at. And I'm here to tell you that it is not to be feared. Shadow is nothing more than that which is unaware. Light is that which is conscious. Shadow is that which is subconscious or unconscious. Nothing else. Objectively, one is not good or bad. Good and bad are simply statements of needs. But shadow can be exceptionally dangerous because it's operating from a place of unawareness, right? So this is like we have root patterning, root trauma that's residing within us, that's still operating in us. But because we are unaware of it, we don't have control over it. And if anything should scare you about shadow work, it's the fact that it's going on inside of you already and you don't have any control over it. Beginning with this process of compassionate self-questioning and self-awareness takes that shadow and begins to give you the opportunity to exalt it. This isn't something to be removed or suppressed anymore. This is something that is an active gateway to everything that you are wanting. I also really want to talk about trauma and begin to redefine what trauma is. All of us are moving through life with trauma. Overall, society has been exceptionally traumatic for all humans, and humans that are raised in these traumatic ways raise other humans in a traumatic way until they themselves awaken and realize they have a different choice. Trauma is any situation that has gone unresolved. So this could be simply a 3-year-old child that falls madly, deeply in love with a stuffed animal at a store. And the parents can't afford it for the child. Out of the love in their heart, they want to be able to provide, but they can't. In this moment, they just can't do it for their kid for whatever reason. And that kid is heartbroken. We know that the emotions of children are as real, as vivid, and as intense as our adult emotions. So that child is experiencing heartbreak in that moment and doesn't understand why. A parent that maybe not recognize or realize or be attuned with their child to know what they're needing, who might say something like, oh, well, just get over it. You have so many toys at home. But the heartbreak doesn't go away for that kid. And that little child is living with that little moment that's unresolved inside of them. So what happens is that your consciousness in little moments like that happen over a long period of time, right? Your consciousness begins to flip and fracture. When you hit a point of unresolved, what happens is what's going on inside of you splits. And the part that goes to the forefront of your personality is the part that is going to be approved of and stay in connection with whatever is your dominant family dynamic. The other part of you that is denied, suppressed, disowned, rejected is going to be that part of you that had that deep desire for that stuffed animal, but felt like it was something that was unreasonable. Maybe that little 3-year-old made it mean that they can't have what they want in life. Maybe they made it mean that they're not good enough, right? This is a 3-year-old mentality of how you manage a situation like this that you can't find resolve in. So maybe in the forefront of the personality becomes the good child that doesn't need anything. But behind the surface, lurking underneath are all of these needs that aren't bad. They're realistic. as you start to do this introspection, what happens is that the parts of you inside of you begin to stabilize. And as you begin to question and repattern some of these beliefs, you won't be experiencing the same kinds of triggers and repeated situations that continuously happen in life. It can be exceptionally liberating as you begin to work through some of these patterns and understand the fragmentation that's going on inside of you, right? Because as I said before, the way that you are interacting and engaging with all parts of yourself is the way that you are engaging and interacting with the universe at large. Utilizing the practice of mindfulness, you can go back and be present with that part of yourself that is consistently experiencing heartbreak, but you don't know why you keep manifesting this experience, that it is repetitive and it continues to happen and it's in your face and in your body all of the time. A lot of people feel powerless when triggers arise, when large emotions arise. And part of that is societal. We've come from a patriarchal society that generally tends to make emotions more of a female response and are weak. And lovingly, we can say to humanity that we're learning and growing together and we're all collaborating in this. We can also honor the parts in ourselves that are still learning how to monitor and regulate our emotional states. Simultaneously, we can start to understand what we can do when we're in those moments of deep trigger or really large emotions. And this is where some somatic processing or completion process start to become very powerful, because it allows you to utilize these really large emotional states that you can feel powerless to. It allows you to start to lean into them. Like little wormholes, they take you to those moments, generally in early childhood, where your needs weren't being addressed, your needs weren't being met, and you're feeling unresolved. And this isn't a statement of your parents were bad or your caregivers are bad or you live in an exceptionally abusive, dysfunctional home. That is going to be true for some people, but that's not going to be true for everybody. A lot of us are just products of people who were really trying their best. So how can we do better for ourselves and set ourselves, our family, and all of society free? Well, there's a wonderful tools outside of this somatic processing that I'm talking about to help assist when you're in these really big moments. And when I say somatic processing, this is just a meditation, a mindful practice of being present with what's going on inside of your body. So you're beginning to be present with the feelings and the sensations of that heartbreak, or maybe of that anger, honoring the seeds of it inside of you and beginning to reflect and observe the roots of them so you can resolve them at their source and honor yourself for the process. Always keeping in mind that sometimes a lot of these really deep seeds of anger, resentment, hatred, sadness, they may run very deep. And so it's a process of consistently unfolding into these experiences, developing deeper acceptance for yourself and exactly who you are and where you are right now, so that as you evolve, all of you is present. And there's no better gift that you can give yourself than absolute surrender and self-acceptance. Another really beautiful tool that I want to mention before I end here is flower essences. Flower essences operate on the subtle bodies. I utilize them a lot of work in the work that I do and the work that I do with other people for helping move through the emotional layers. So this is something that I highly recommend as a really wonderful medicine to start doing some of this work. And it allows you to do it in a way that's gentle and safe without feeling exceptionally overwhelmed. So I'm looking at the time and we're beginning to come to a close of the session. And I just want to say thank you again for showing up, for being here with me. I am so happy to share this space with you. And thank you. Thank you for being you, because you being you gives me permission to just be me. And I am so grateful for you. If you want to engage with me in any other capacity, you can come and see me at Soulutions. I'm here Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I facilitate workshops. I develop packages for people that want to work one-on-one, and we can really get in deep to the roots of whatever the blockages are that you may be facing. And you can check out my website, kalunahealing.com. I'm on Etsy as well. I do custom flower essences and sprays, auric sprays for people. And I love doing this work, you guys. So if you want to connect with me, if you want to engage with me, if you want to go really deep, I'm here for it. I'm so in love with it. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.